Hey guys, it's me Courtney and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna kind of be doing like a random foundation review. This is the Smith & Cult Veiled Threat Weightless Micro Blurring Foundation. I've had my eye on it for a while. I just kind of kept putting it off because there was just other stuff that I wanted to try, and I wasn't so sure about the actual foundation colors. A lot of the colors online looked a little bit orangey and they really didn't have any swatches that kind of helped. So I went ahead and got this from Ulta. You can also get it at smithandcult.com. The actual foundation is $42. You get 1.11 ounces, which is a little bit more than your average 1 ounce. It comes in 42 shades. I got the shade 380 Warm, which I do think is a pretty decent shade match for me as I am right now. However, I do believe when I get darker, I am gonna go and see if I can find a darker shade. As far as the actual claims in this foundation, it says it's up to 12-hour all-day wear, transfer resistant pigment that remains true to tone, a melting mousse to cream foundation that applies quickly and easily, creating a moisture matte finish. In my usual foundation reviews, I'll go in with one side with a brush and the other side with a beauty blender, but today I'm going to do it a little bit different just because I find that with this foundation, I like to actually go in with a brush first and then pat it out with the blender. So I'm going to go in with 2 pumps, and I find that the 2 full pumps is usually good enough for a decent full coverage kind of beat. Okay, so I'm gonna just take, this is my e.l.f. Powder brush. I find that going in with a brush first and then sort of blending everything out gives me the amount of coverage that I like, and then it gives a nice smooth finish that's a little bit more skin-like. Then I'm gonna pat it in with my sponge. And now I can't do this with every foundation, but with this one, I really like how this one turns out when I do it like this. All right, so this is 1 full layer. Now I do have a few spots that I could go into and sort of build it up a little bit, but I wanted to show you what it looks like just with 2 pumps. You can get a full coverage with 2 pumps, but I do also believe it's buildable. So I'm gonna go in with 1 more pump, just on a few of the points. To me, it's not necessary to go in with more than that. Like, this is a good enough coverage for me. Even before me adding the little pump that I did, it was, you know, a decent enough coverage for me. I feel like as far as the actual color goes, it is a really decent color match, and they still had a ton of colors to choose from, so I'm really happy with the color that I picked. It feels really light on the skin. I don't feel this on my face. It's not like sticky or icky or anything. As far as the actual drying down, it doesn't necessarily dry down. I think one of the claims was that it was transfer resistant, and I mean, I'm gonna set it and see if it is, but honestly, I don't think I found a foundation that was completely transfer resistant. I don't think I've ever had one. But right now, it's still a little bit tacky, so I'm definitely gonna set it today. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did use my Murad Age Reform. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face, and we'll come back and have a little chat. Alright guys, so this is the look that I'm going to be rocking today. All of the products that I use on my face will be in the description box below. If you are curious on how to get this look, I am doing a Pat McGrath 3 looks 1 palette video. And this is going to be one of the looks. I don't know if it's going to be before this one or after this one that I released that one, so just keep your eyes out for that. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but pretty much with all of my reviews, if you guys are new here, I typically wear like a foundation or concealer. I try products out for at least a week to really get a good sense of how I feel for them, what products work best. In this case, like the application that I like the best with it, that sort of thing. And I'm gonna give you all my thoughts and all my opinions and stuff at the end of the day, once you see how it wears. But just looking at my face right now, like, this is a really good makeup day. Right now it is 12:21. I got a little bit of a late start today. It's one of those like rainy, kind of gloomy situations outside. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I'll see you guys, I wanna say about 8-ish, 8:30. I'm gonna try to shoot for. All right guys, I am back. It is now 8:11, and this is what my face is looking like. Aside from the oils, I do see a little bit of creasing on the side right here. and right here. On separate occasions, I use like the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. I use my Smashbox primerizer, and I actually didn't get these lines in that kind of situation going on. So today I use my Murad primer. So what that tells me is with my Murad primer, I might get a little bit more creasing, but it doesn't necessarily crease with everything. To me, this foundation is still very, very lightweight. Even with the oils peeking through, it's not like I'm itching to take this off or anything. It's still very comfortable, and even with my pores coming through, I still don't feel like it looks horrible. There's some foundations that I've tried, especially lately, that just make my pores look a hot, dry, open mess. Even though my pores are kind of open in these areas right here, it's not to the point where I feel like insecure about it, if that makes sense. Now, one thing that I'm noticing under this specific lighting, it does look like I'm oxidizing right here a little bit. I didn't really notice that until I sat down under these bright lights. So I don't think that that's really an issue unless you're constantly under bright lights. So it did claim to be a 12-hour wear. I haven't worn this for 12 hours. I think the max that I wore it for was like 9 to 10 hours, if that. And honestly, I think it's one of those foundations, like it definitely stays on your face, but it's not a foundation that keeps its original form throughout the day. It's something that you're gonna have to touch up, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. It did say it was a transfer resistant pigment, and we kind of talked about that already, where pretty much every foundation, the longer you wear it, the oilier you get, and it's going to transfer. And I would say if you do have oily skin, I would still set this foundation. Me being a dry skin person, I have gone without setting it, and I mean, it's possible to do, but again, it's still slightly tacky, so I would still recommend, especially for oily skin, I would still set it. I hate the fact that it's not really in stores, so whether you go on the Smith & Co website or you go on Ulta, you still kind of have to guess. For brands to come out with more and more shade ranges, which I do think is awesome, it just sucks not to be able to swatch those shades in store to really find out what shade you can use. And it sucks to have to like buy one color and maybe it doesn't work, and then you got to return it and buy another one, and it's just kind of like a hassle. And with this specific foundation, I find that online the colors run so orange that it's almost scary looking. It's one of the reasons why I kept putting off buying this foundation, is just because the colors online look crazy. I didn't really know about the brand, nobody was talking about it, that sort of thing, but I actually really like this foundation. I definitely think the pros of this foundation outweigh the cons, in that I feel like it's a very lightweight foundation. I feel like it's very skin-like. I feel like there's a very nice coverage. It doesn't feel cakey, it doesn't look cakey. They do have a pretty decent amount of shades, and they do have little subtle variations in their undertones, which I always love. And I mean, I think it's one of those foundations that lasts a good amount of time, and even when you get oily, it doesn't look crazy. And it works really well with all of my primers, all my powders, my concealers, with everything that I've tried it with. It works really well. But yeah, I actually really like this foundation. Now I am gonna go ahead and powder so you guys can see what that looks like. Alright, so that's with me setting it, and again, I just feel like it looks good. Even with the powders on top of the oils, it does not feel gross. It doesn't feel icky, doesn't feel sticky, doesn't feel heavy, and it still feels smooth. I'm sorry if I seemed a little bit off in this video, like I'm really tired. Alright guys, that about does it for me. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you guys ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to leave those in the comments below, as well as any recommendations that you guys might have, anything that you would like me to try out. Yeah, just leave those in the comments below, let me know. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Share the video if the mood suits you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.